One of the ways that you can really be vulnerable authentically is to be honest about your struggles after you process them, not while you're unraveling from them.
Yeah.
Process those things first. Show how that points to growth in you or healing or your dependence on God, right? Don't just share pain without purpose, because it's about the other person. It's not just about you.
What's up, friends? Welcome to another episode of the Future is Here podcast, where we talk about the leadership principles that you need to lead the next generation. Of course, I'm here with Robert Boydes.
I'm here.
I'm here. Super excited to be here. Today, what we're going to do is we have the top 3 questions from our listeners and our leaders. You guys have leadership issues. You're trying to figure some things out. But we know that when someone asks a question, I'm sure it'll be helpful to a lot of people out there. So we have 3 for you today that we're going to jump into and talk about and try to answer in the best way that we can. And so
we're trying to do this every 5th episode, by the way. So if you guys are out there and you have leadership questions,
dude, hit us up.
Send them to us. We want to know what are the most pressing things that you're trying to deal with as a leader. Now, these are leadership questions, so I want to be clear about that. It's not just anything. I mean, although we love to talk theology and other stuff, politics, we want to know about leadership.
Yeah.
What are your leadership questions?
Absolutely. So this one comes from one of our leaders that I think you've been doing some coaching for.
Yeah.
And they asked, I have to announce a major transition to my team. I'm worried about how they're going to take it. What's the best way to communicate this major transition to them? And I think as you thought through this, you actually created a framework for this, which I think is going to be really helpful. So if your guys are in a season where you have to make a major announcement. I also think this can work, a major transition, that's part of it. I think some of this can work as well into like a difficult announcement.
Oh, sure.
Someone's leaving staff. Hey, we had this incident happen. We had, how do you communicate this well? And I think it's a great question because I've seen this not communicated well.
Or at all
in so many different ways. I'll give you a quick example. At one of my daughters, they go to this youth group. There's a transition of the youth leader. Well, they communicated it so poorly and it was so quick that everybody was kind of like, it must have been a moral failing. That's what I thought of it. I was like, ooh, gosh, what happened? It wasn't. It was just that they had decided to go do something and then that thing didn't work out and then there was no place for them to come back and they transitioned, but nobody knew that. And so if this would have been communicated this way with clarity and concise, statement, it would have saved a lot of pain and hurt.
Which is interesting because I think sometimes we overthink this as leaders.
Yeah.
We think like, I want to make sure I don't cause more problems than I'm solving with my communication. I want to make sure like, people don't feel a certain way about it.
Yeah.
I want to make sure they don't think this. And so we communicate in a way that causes all of those things.
All those things to happen. And here's the thing, when you're communicating these type of, transitions or issues or whatever the thing is that, something that's weighty, you have to ask yourself the question, the way that I'm trying to communicate this, am I trying to protect? What am I trying to protect? And because a lot of times it's weird. If you're trying to protect your power or what you think is the perception that's going to happen or whatever, can I just tell you, just go with the truth. Like
always works.
Always go with the truth, no matter what. But how you communicate it, it's super important to do that, but go with the truth. Anytime you're going to hedge on the truth, or you're going to be unclear for a specific reason or what, just be honest and truthful about it. And I see that people make that mistake all the time. So,
and all change, by the way, is painful.
Always.
All change is painful.
But
the question is,
here it is.
Do you want to take the pain now or the pain later? After the poor communication.
Yeah.
And the pain later is always worse.
Always worse.
Always worse. Take the pain now.
Yes.
The other thing about that is you actually can manage the amount of pain that is caused by the announcement.
Absolutely.
Or by the communication.
Yeah.
That is within your control to manage.
Yeah.
So the more you have a framework for this, and again, it's where you're considering not just the needs of the organization and the needs of leadership, but also the needs of the individuals who are hearing it. And we'll share that framework with you later. But that's when you really are able to communicate in a way that helps change happen in a healthy way.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for tuning in. Before we continue, if you like the show and want to continue to support us, the free and simple way to do that is to simply subscribe. And so we'll do our best to continue to create content to help you in your leadership. To get into the framework, first I would say, well, one, tell the truth. Yeah. Two, you have to think through when you're going to make these kind of announcements. You have to think through who needs to know what, when, and in what order.
So good, yeah.
And the reason you want to think through that is depending on what the announcement. I mean, there's so many possibilities, right? But usually when I'm making these kind of announcements, I need to know, like, what do people need to know? Again, we want to stick with truth, but there's a wisdom in there where it's like, there's certain details that may not be important, or not everybody needs to know this part of it. So you do have to think through that. When is really important. It's tough. You don't want to surprise people as much as it's in your power. Now, sometimes things happen. It just happened. Everyone's going to be surprised because you need to share it. But what you don't want to do is be like 6 months later, when everybody's already been asking all the questions, then you're going to share it. So when is an actual really important time?
Super important.
It takes a lot of wisdom when. And then when I mean in what order is, there's certain things like in this instance, there's a transition. Well, if you're the top leader and you've had your number two there with you all this time, it's honoring to them for them to know first.
Yeah.
It's not honoring for them to find out when everybody else finds out, or for them to find out when the big announcement just goes out on social media or what.
Yeah, so hurtful.
That's super hurtful. So you also want to think about depth of relationship, position in the org, those kind of things. So that's what we mean by in what order do you want to let them know. And, it matters too relationally.
Yeah,
it matters because you'd be hurt if you felt like, oh, I'm the number two in the org, and the guy who cleans the offices knew it before me. That's painful.
Yeah.
So
to give you a framework for that piece, Tommy, because I think it's important. So a good way to do that is to think about when you ask who needs to know, group them into categories of people. So, for example, my closest confidants, right? My closest allies, my closest leaders. That's one group of people. How many are there? Maybe there's 2 or 3 of those, right? My board, that's another group of people.
Yeah.
My staff is another group of people. And then maybe from that point, it's just, the population at large. Or maybe there's key volunteers. Yeah. That's another group of people. And then there's a population at large. So once you've identified these, who needs to know, these groups, then you could talk about, okay, well, what is the order?
Yeah.
Okay, and what order do they need to know? And the really important thing to understand about that is what we call the flashpoint. There is a flashpoint at which when you announce to someone in that group, everybody else is going to know.
Yeah.
So you need to understand the flashpoint, and then that will help you understand, okay, well, when should I say this?
Yeah.
Because you want to minimize the time between the flashpoint and everybody else knowing.
Yeah.
If you hit that person first, you're going to lose all communication, control over the communication.
Yeah, I think too, I agree with all that. I think the other thing that people should consider, one, you should create a plan.
Oh, yes, please.
Don't shoot from the hip on this one. Create the plan.
Communication plan, yeah.
And then one of the ways that you can communicate about it is your top leadership team should be some of the first people to know. Then you can invite them in on the larger communication plan.
Yeah.
And again, you're kind of killing 2 birds with one stone, because then you're letting them in on it, which is honoring, and then you're asking them to join in on it. It doesn't have to all be on you if you're the top leader, especially for a transition. Yeah. You do not want to surprise your top leadership, because look, it's not kind to them if they're going to be like, well, shoot, we're going to have to lead through this transition.
Yeah.
For them to find out when everybody else finds out, or you're like, hey, I'm out tomorrow. Terrible. Don't do that, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway.
And the plan is important because
it's huge.
that first group of people are the ones who are going to help you as you communicate. So to be able to share the plan with them, like, hey, I'm telling you first, but here's how I'm communicating it. And then again, you could ask them to have discretion. Like, please, I would appreciate if you just let me communicate this, or this is how it's going to roll out. So please don't tell anybody. It's not like you're trying to stop people from talking about it. It's just that you want to make sure that you honor everybody along the way. And so every time you tell a group of people, you be like, hey, can you just let me, again, before you get to that flashpoint, can you just let me communicate this?
Yeah.
Super healthy.
Yeah, man. So, okay. So then, but now we're at the place where you got to make this announcement.
So you have the plan, and now you're going to communicate. And this is really was built around specifically like your staff, right? So you already had the conversations maybe with key people, the one or two people that are in your trust circle. Maybe you've talked to the board already. And now it's like, okay, how do I tell the staff? So here's a framework, and you guys can either write this down as you're listening, or you can hit us up in the comments, and we will send you the framework for you to use. First thing is state the purpose, like from the get-go.
Yeah. Don't make them don't make a like long speech. And
what do they call it? Don't bury the lead.
Yeah, just
right.
Bust it out.
For example, hey, I got to share some important news with you. I am leaving the organization.
Yeah.
Effective whatever date. Just be clear about that. Rip the Band-Aid off, let everybody hear, right? And then again, be concise about that. You can share the decision that you made, why you did that. Like, hey, look, I've been praying about this. I've had a lot of reflection. I've asked people. And so here's what I've decided. And then you explain kind of that. So state the purpose, share the actual decision with clarity. And then I think it's important to have some gratitude and connection with the team, right? So acknowledge your shared journey. So you might say something like, man, I'm so grateful for your dedication and support and your commitment to this organization. And to me, I've really enjoyed, serving with you, whatever it is, right? They got to feel a sense of gratitude and not like you're just like, oh man, they're just bailing on me, right? So you have to remind them of that shared journey that you guys have been on. The fourth thing you want to do is, again, explain why without oversharing. Because if you don't explain why you're leaving, back to your example with your daughter, right, in the youth group, people are going to make up their own reasons.
They will make up the story, and their brains are already doing that, trying to make the connections. So you have to give it to them.
I wonder why.
Yeah, what's really going on?
And so before it gets, they start creating this narrative that it's going to be harder to unravel. Just go ahead and tell them why. Say, hey, look, the reason for my decision is, and again, don't overshare, but be honest about why that transition is.
This is where the truth really helps. Like give them and make sure you're being honest about the real truth. Hey, I'm burned out. I really feel like God's asking me to transition. Hey, I think I can't sustain this anymore. I don't think I'm the right person for this. I mean, whatever the thing is, like, just be real honest about it. Please don't over spiritualize it, or, so just, this is the reason, which means that you've had to go through the process of really thinking through the reason.
Yeah.
Like, and even if it's like, guys, I just need to make more money. You know what I mean? Is that the main reason? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So whatever it is,
just take care of my family. Or whatever.
Yeah, right.
My family's growing. I just need whatever. Now, here's the thing. Because we have a real life example of this, Tommy.
Oh.
Even when you explain the reason.
Oh yeah, people will.
And make it clear, people will still be like,
yeah.
That's not why. There's really another reason. Don't worry about those people.
You can't.
You can't worry. You just stick to your reason if you're being truthful and honest.
Yeah.
The next thing to do is reassure people and then describe the plan. Okay, so you made the announcement. You've told them what's happening, when it's happening. You've told them why. You've kind of thanked them, for the journey that you guys have been on. Now they need some, and I always use your word for this. They need handles.
Yeah.
They need some handles now. So explain the plan. Make sure that you emphasize continuity and clarity. Hey, here's how we will be moving forward.
Yeah.
The board has already started a search. We're hoping to hire somebody by this date. I'm going to be with you until then. Like, reassure them that there's a clear plan and not just like, oh, well, shoot, what are we going to do? Hey, things aren't going to change for now. Don't worry about it. Here's the plan. So that's really important. Reassure them, describe the transition plan. And then again, because here's the thing. You're going to describe this plan and they're still going to be like, oh my gosh, what do we do? What do we do? Reaffirm your confidence in them.
Yeah.
Not in the plan, in them.
Yeah.
Show that you trust their leadership and commitment. Say, hey, look, I know we have a strong team here. I have every confidence in you. Now, this is without gaslighting them. Don't gaslight them. Don't do that.
Please don't do that.
But if, honestly, say, you know what, we have confidence. Look, you guys have been journeying with me. I know you guys are excellent together as a team. You guys are strong. So as we move forward with this plan, like, I know you guys are going to be okay.
The one thing I would say in these two parts of this structure, when you reassure and describe the transition plan, reaffirm your confidence in the team, you have to understand, because sometimes leaders, it's like you're transitioning. So you're thinking a lot about you.
That's a good point.
No one cares about, they might be like, oh, that's sad, or they might have some connect. But the first thing they're going to think of is like, how does this affect me?
Yeah.
So you, as a great leader, do a healthy transition, have to think about them in that moment, and then think about what are the questions they're going to have, what are the concerns they're going to have, and you're either answering that or you're inviting them into, like, it's going to be okay. You're reaffirming. So again, you're not gaslighting, but you're going, hey, I actually have all faith, if you do, that you guys will be fine. You think about the first thing. Does this mean I'm going to lose my job? In the nonprofit, who's going to fundraise? How much money do we have left? You have to think about some of those things, and within your power to address them, you just want to give people a sense of it's going to be okay. If it's going to be okay, if you're like, I'm transitioning and I don't think this place is going to make it. Okay, well, that's a different conversation. But
no, I mean, that's a great point actually, because this whole framework isn't about you.
No.
It's about them. It's
Yeah.
about those that you're transitioning away from. You're caring for them. You're shepherding them even in this moment. Like, if this is the last leadership thing you do, you got to do it in a healthy way. Just because you've decided to leave doesn't mean your leadership is done. And I think too many times leaders check out once they made the decision and they stop caring about their team.
Yeah.
And what we're saying is, man, finish well.
Yeah.
Finish well, and this is part of finishing well, is leading them all the way and shepherding them all the way up until the last moment. So reassure, describe the transition plan, reaffirm your confidence in the team, and then, again, really important, acknowledge the emotional impact. Be real, as Tommy, you were saying, this is where we really get to acknowledge, like, hey, we know this is not just about me, but it's about you as well, right?
Yeah.
Offer space for processing either now or later. Say things like, hey, look, I know this is going to be difficult for some of you. We've been rocking together for a long time. Yeah. It's okay. And it's okay to have questions. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to even have concern. But I'm going to be here still to process this with you. And I want to provide space for us to talk about this because I want to make sure you're going to be okay.
So in this part, it's interesting. I would, as a leader, and I've done this, where I share honestly about my emotions in it. But again, to not make it about you or me, right? I do that so it can open up opportunity for them to also share. And then realizing people are made differently. There are verbal processors that are like, yeah, I feel real angry. Like, they feel it right then. And then there's others that are like, I just gotta, So a lot of times in these moments, I'm always like, I give opportunity for people to just share, or I just go, hey, we'll have other opportunities later. You can share when it comes up for you, just because people are made different. But that kind of place, I think, being real honest, again, not overly, but just going, hey, I'm sad. I'm carrying both emotions. I feel sad. I feel like there was still some work that I wish I could have seen happen, or whatever, know.
That's good.
And I am excited for the future. So you can be real honest with that. That gives people the permission to go, I can share too. So
yeah. By the way, I've seen this done badly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've seen this done.
Describe that.
Yeah. Well, no, let me tell you, because here's the thing. You could actually do every one of these steps poorly.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely.
Like, you could be a leader like, hey, I brought you guys together because, I'm leaving and I gave my 2 weeks notice and I'm gone. And you know what? There's probably going to be somebody who comes up behind me and, that's going to be up to them.
Yeah.
So just wanted to let you know. Hey, how are you guys feeling about that?
Yeah, totally. It's like
everybody's just like,
Yeah,
And
that's,
they're like,
that's a good point, man.
No, I want to hear, I want to hear how you guys are feeling,
And then they get all defensive when they're like, well, this is kind of taking me by surprise. Well, it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And you're like,
well,
oh, gosh.
Or they'll say something and you're like, oh yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. It's just,
Yeah. Sorry, you feel that way.
There's no empathy in that.
Yeah.
So be careful. We want to do this out of love and care for one another and for our team, not just, I followed your script, man. Everybody got mad. Yeah. You missed the whole point.
You're a jerk.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
So acknowledge the emotional
Yeah,
impact. Also, and this is kind of what you were alluding to, Tommy, encourage vision and forward movement.
Yes.
Right? So recenter around the mission. So look, hey, this doesn't mean that I feel like we failed. I think everything we've done has been awesome, but I think it's ready for some new leadership. It means that we're moving forward and we have some intention and some stability. And I really think, that this organization is going to do great things. And, again, if you believe that, there's a whole other way I think we can talk about it when you're not feeling that. But even then, I think it's important to focus on the positives and not just, don't leave bitterness and anxiety behind. Like if you're leaving that in your wake, that's just that's unhealthy for them, but it's also a sign of unhealthiness for you.
You're a poor leader.
Because you're a poor leader. Yeah. We've said it. You're a poor leader if you do that.
That's what's happening, yeah.
And then the last thing is just, again, reassurance, right? Close with availability, support, and gratitude. So let them know, hey, look, I'm still here for 2 weeks or a month or whatever that is. I'm going to be fully present, and I'm committed to making sure that you feel supported as we move ahead with this change. You're going to hear more about this. I don't have all the answers for you right now, maybe, but in the days and weeks ahead, as we move forward, you'll hear more. Again, man, I just want to thank you. My time here has been amazing. I've loved working with every single one of you, and so I want to just thank you for all your hard work, and I pray that we'll continue to be able to build on that.
Yeah. Now, this part's really important, and I would also say in your plan too for how you're going to transition out, you got to make space for this if you want to do it well, because you just want to wind down and then you want to make space. Hey, and check in with people. Hey, you doing okay? How are you feeling about that? Depending on how big your team is, and if you have hundreds of people working there, that's tough. But you can just being open and hey, I just want to help with this transition. So you have to plan for that, but this part's really huge, And then there might be some people where you just feel like I need to make sure I go to them and go, hey, remember 2 years ago and you said this to me or you did this work. I just want to let you know, thank you for that. That meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And you're like go around like bless people.
That's good.
Bless people. As you get hopefully get blessed out. So I just think that's really good. I do think it is funny though that you could take that whole thing and just make it terrible. Hopefully you hear our spirit in it and the posture. There's a ton of unspoken things at this moment that we're assuming that you've thought a lot about corporate culture, that you've thought about, that you've led in a decent way, that you've prioritized these people. So there's a lot of assumptions there, but this is how
if people can't wait to see you leave,
right?
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. Or if it's a super toxic place, that's what we're all doing this for, so that we lead places that aren't like that. So, all right. So question number 2, it goes along with this because there's a part in what we just shared that this goes with this. The second question that somebody sent in was, how vulnerable should I be about my own struggles without losing the respect of the people I'm leading? And I actually think this is a really important one because there's a sense of we want people to respect us. We don't think that we can lead in vulnerability, even though we talk about it all the time. I'm still kind of blown away by people sharing to me like, dude, thanks for being vulnerable in that moment. That was really helpful for me. And I'm like, yeah, sure. But then nobody said anything after that. So I just thought like maybe I was being an idiot. Like there's those moments where I felt like that the other day in prayer, we have a weekly prayer thing, and I shared something and then everybody's like, and I go, maybe I shouldn't have shared that. And then I was meeting with a staff member and they said, hey, thanks for sharing that. That was actually really helpful. Met with some leaders last night, and their big takeaway was, man, thanks for being vulnerable with like where you're at. And so it gives a lot of permission to people. So
yeah, I mean, I think
great
I
question.
think a lot of leaders are used to their leaders posturing.
Yeah. Like
I'm good, or using vulnerability as a way,
weapon.
as a weapon. I was gonna say as a way to make you like them more, or as as a way to kind of up their points with you. But really, true vulnerability comes from a desire, I think, to want to help people know that you empathize with them.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you want them to know, like, hey, I'm really not that different than you. I'm really not. Like, I'm a human being. I have failures. I have, hopes. I have dreams. I have vision. Like, I have all of that.
Yeah.
I don't want to pretend to be something that I'm not. Now, that doesn't mean I don't carry the responsibility of leadership, but that means that I don't have to like become inhuman to become a leader.
Yeah, like I'm just impervious to all the things.
Yeah,
like I'm
like, oh, I can't be
made of
vulnerable.
steel.
Yeah. But so I think the short answer to how can you be vulnerable about your own struggles and not lose people's respect is be real, but be wise.
Yeah.
Right. Well, first, like we said, don't be fake.
Yeah. Dude,
don't be fake about it. But then if you are going to be real, be real.
You're not fooling anybody.
You're not.
You're really not. Like we all know you're fake.
So be real, but be wise. Because I think in our context, in the urban context, we know, man, authenticity isn't optional. Like game recognized game.
All the time.
Like you are not going to come up in this place and try to be one of us.
Yeah.
And you can't.
Yeah, yeah, dude. And
like,
we accept you for who you are.
Happen.
But yeah.
Oh, it's so uncomfortable and awkward when you see it happening.
Yeah.
And I've been in groups where somebody's sharing something and you're just like, oh, why did you one, that's not even relevant to the conversation.
Yeah, super weird when people do that. Yeah.
Like, what does that have to do with anything we're talking about? And then you're like, oh, okay, well so they shared something that actually doesn't connect them to the people that they're talking to.
Yeah.
I think that's really maybe a second point here is really important. If you're going to share something, make sure that there's a connecting point with you and the people you're talking to.
Yeah.
Don't share something completely irrelevant, with them that doesn't make that connection.
Yeah, I think there's a part here, friends, where there is leadership in the vulnerability. When you're leading and you're sharing that you're doing it for a reason. Do you know what I'm saying? And that reason's got to be the right reason. Because there's ways to do this where you manipulate people, right? Maybe somebody brings up something and they're calling you out on something, and I go, yeah, well, and then I bring up something as a deflection, like, you don't know how hard it's been for me, and then it's like, oh, you're not being vulnerable to lead in the moment. You're using it as deflection to being called out on something. Like that's not the moment for that. But there's a leadership in the vulnerability where you said it's to help unlock a vulnerability in a safe place for other people. And that's where you want to be with that kind of vulnerability, where you're like, hey, where I think people lose respect for it is if you're abdicating with your vulnerability. Like I'm just letting out all the things. I'm just kind of like, yelling into the wind. And you guys all just have to deal with it. And it's
like we talked about before, that becomes about you.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's where the spots of like, oh man, here comes Tom, and that just wants to like whine about his life. You know what I mean? There's also, I think, a trajectory though here of, vulnerability and depth of relationship and safety. If you don't want to, like, it's a trajectory as a leader to grow that vulnerability. And there is a strategy to that, that I think is important, that you have to, that I it's hard to talk about because I intuit it. Like there's a sense there for me, and that's how I lead. But I also have to be careful of it being manipulation. And then I also have to be careful of it being, is this just like, if it's just for me? So,
yeah, I mean, you made me think about something that again, I don't want to come across as, cynical or
Sure.
I know that's hard because it's just part of my nature to be cynical. But
Yeah, it's good questions.
I think when I hear that from the pulpit or from the stage, can I just be vulnerable? I don't often connect with that as vulnerability.
Me neither.
Because I don't really know what the point is, so that it goes with the message. Like now I have seen real vulnerability on stage.
Yeah.
But I can always sense when the Holy Spirit has caused it versus when good sermon prep has caused it.
It's usually not announced either.
Right.
Like really good vulnerability is not like, can I just be vulnerable with you guys for a minute? Like,
that kind of stuff.
No. But if I'm just sharing a story and I share the story truthfully, all of a sudden people are like, dang, that was really vulnerable.
Yeah.
Well, because I was being honest with the truth.
Right.
But that truth had a reason. It's because I want to share that with you. So it's an interesting.
And I've been on
balance.
stage before where I felt this overwhelming sense from the Holy Spirit to be like,
share
this.
Yeah.
And I wept as I was sharing this thing. It wasn't planned. I didn't, it was like, oh, and you know how I always know, again, here's my cynicism, right? But if somebody from stage goes, hey, can I just be vulnerable? And I share this. And then later I see them talking to somebody and somebody goes, oh, when you shared that just really touched me. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm glad that,
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, okay, there's not real connection there. That person probably felt something, but it's not reciprocal because in my vulnerability, I also need to feel a connection with you in that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's hard for me to be, to plan a vulnerability, say, I'm going to tell this story and be vulnerable. I don't feel like that's the same thing as what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
We're talking about an honesty that usually comes out in private places and in private conversations. And that's where it's the most meaningful.
Yeah, no, that's so good. I mean, you wrote in here too, like people aren't looking for a perfect leader; they're looking for a present one.
Yeah,
and part of the vulnerability is there's a play with the Holy Spirit in this. You just mentioned it. I think that is absolutely essential for any type of vulnerability. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to share anything, you should be checking, praying in the moment. God, should I share this?
Yeah,
or before the moment. That's fine too. But like, do you really want me to share that? If you don't feel nervous about that vulnerability piece, how is it vulnerable, or are you just using it as a prop?
Oh yeah, if you're confidently being vulnerable.
Yeah, there's a part from that.
It's hard.
No, there's a part too where I've tried to live my life to be like so honest and just out there with it that sometimes it does feel like sometimes I'm surprised when somebody's like, man, that was really vulnerable. I was like, oh, okay. I was just sharing, like I'm the guy that's like, hey, how are you doing? I'll just actually tell you.
Yeah.
Which sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, dude, I was just being nice, dude. But there's that place too. But there's also, I have to also check with the Holy Spirit, like, hey, am I being, do I also need to protect my heart or God, those things. But I think that's a really huge part of it. And so,
I mean, I'm glad you said the praying piece is so important.
It's
because
huge.
I can honestly tell you that probably more often than not, I feel like, I want to share this. And then I pray that prayer and the Holy Spirit goes, no.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Or my prayer usually isn't, hey, should I share this? My prayer is like, Lord, if you want me to share this, just make it really clear in the next few minutes or seconds that I need to share this. And then usually somebody else will share or something. And what's funny is a lot of times someone else shares the exact thing that I was going to share. And I'm like, oh, okay. It was
but God needed to do it.
Theirs to share, not mine. This is really good. Which goes into this, again, what it means to be vulnerable. I think one of the ways that you can really be vulnerable authentically is to be honest about your struggles after you've processed them, not while you're unraveling from them.
Yeah.
Now, that's okay to do, I think, with trusted people in the presence, again, in privacy. If Tommy, if I'm going through something hard and I'm in the moment, I haven't even processed yet, I'd be comfortable processing that with you. Like sharing,
sure.
Hey, this is what's happening to me right now. But with the rest of the people that I'm leading, I think I would rather let me process that first. Let me see what lessons I've learned.
Yeah.
Let me see how God has changed me so I can share the fullness of that thing and not just do a vomit dump on them.
I would say too, just to interrupt, that context is really important to this conversation too. Like, am I here with you? What's the relationship here? I think those are great places to be, just like raw, vulnerable with your friendships and your, like when you're leading in a group, or it's staff meeting or it's it's a little bit different context. And so you play it a little bit different that way. Cause it's like, well, how much in my mind, I'm always like, how much do I know these people? What is the Holy Spirit asking me to share? Anything he asks me to share, I'll share.
Yeah.
And I would say before you get to the rest of these, forever ask this question, or if you're struggling with this, let me just tell you, being authentically vulnerable always gains more respect from people.
Oh, absolutely.
Like just across the board. If you're doing it well and it's authentic and real, the healthier the space that you're leading in is, the more that it'll be received.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, again, process your struggles. We're talking about as a leader, because the question was, as a leader, how do I share with my team or my staff or the people I'm leading without, losing their respect? So I think one of them is you just process those things first, so that for the second point, which is show how that points to growth in you or healing or your dependence on God, right? Don't just share pain without purpose. Like, there has to be something, again, because it's about the other person. It's not just about you.
Yeah.
I would say that in 99% of the times that I feel like I need to be vulnerable, it's in response to someone, not proactively.
Yeah.
I'm not just
Yeah, that's
proactively
good.
walking up going, oh, hey, I want to be vulnerable right now.
Yeah.
There's times when maybe I'm speaking and it feels like I need to be vulnerable, but for the most part, it's a reaction to somebody saying something and I'm going, oh, you know what? Let me share with them how that's happened to me as well. So frame that vulnerability in a way that builds others up, but don't burden them with your processing.
Yeah.
Right? In other words, don't just bleed it all over them. Because that's not helpful to them. A lot of people don't know what to do with that.
And I think that's where the fear that I sense in the question comes from, is you're afraid that people are going to like not think you're a good leader, you can't lead. And can I share that? Yeah, I've seen leaders do that, where it erodes any type of confidence in your leadership, because there is that part of it where you didn't think through it, you weren't praying about it, you were just kind of vomiting on people, like, because they're like, oh, I guess I got to take care of you all the time. It can get weird. You know what I mean? So I understand the reason for the question. Yeah. It's a valid question. But there's a tension there. There's a line that you got to walk. And I think what you're sharing is great.
Because I think, I'm glad you said that, because I think if you're constantly doing this, then we would say, hey, bro, you
need to go get some counseling.
You need to get some help first.
Yeah, dude.
Like, if you're just worried because you're constantly sharing these raw emotions with people, like, people are going to feel a sense of instability. They'll be like, dude, is Tommy all right? Is Robert all right? What's going on? Like, all he ever does is share all the struggle. And then, they will lose confidence in your leadership. Yeah. And they may care about you and be like, oh, I hope he gets help. But then you have eroded that confidence in you as a leader.
I think it also matters too, if you're talking about you're leading a bunch of teens, or like they're really young, again, you have to think about where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But if you're leading a staff full of people who are mature or older than you, or young, like around you, like, again, different contexts, so you can engage it in a different way. It just takes a lot of wisdom, and because I've seen that too. I've seen people be vulnerable in a way that was like really creepy and not helpful for young people. And I just go, oh man, that was not the place or time for that. That should have been with us, the leaders, like not to, right? I've seen people do that from the stage. Yeah. Again, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I think just to kind of wrap this up, a great question to ask is not so much how much should I share, but what version of this story is actually going to help the other person grow or build trust or see God more clearly. Again,
that's a great question.
Let's make it about them, right? Because the goal of being vulnerable, like we said earlier, it's not about being liked. It's not about people going, oh yeah, Tommy's really vulnerable, right? It's credibility. You want to add credibility. You want to be relatable, and you want to be spiritually trustworthy. Because here's the thing: if I can't let you in on how God is working in me, then how can I have you go through that process yourself?
Okay, here's so perfect as we wrap this, but that's the other part of this, friends. When you're vulnerable, you're also taking responsibility that you're going to do something about it. So if I bring up, man, I've been really struggling with this, and I do nothing about it, that's manipulation, because all I'm doing is I'm trying to make an excuse for my behavior without actually working on it. The vulnerability is, listen, I want to be honest. You're probably already experiencing it. I'm struggling right now. Here's what I'm doing about it. Or the next time I share about it, hey guys, I just want to say thanks so much for listening to me. And as I shared that, like, here's what God's doing. Or like, I'm inviting people and there's a process happening here. I'm growing in it, Dude, you just like, it's so frustrating when somebody just tells you their weakness all the time and they do nothing about it.
But it's victimizing, right?
Yeah.
They're victimizing their pain.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the victim here. Look what's happening
just,
to me.
you need to just give me a pass for this.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you'll have grace if you're vulnerable, but there's a responsibility to it.
Absolutely.
I don't know, just thought of that when you were sharing.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, question number 3, Tommy. Oh, go ahead.
Actually,
You want to add some more?
no, I actually think we only got time for 2 questions this time.
Oh, okay.
So
we'll save it for the next time.
We're gonna save it for the next time.
All right.
Because we've already kind of hit our time, because we didn't realize your guys' questions were so good. I didn't
really
know.
Good questions.
We had so many thoughts about these things. But
Good.
so with that, man, last thing we'll say on that one, like we said before, if you're vulnerable in a healthy way, you won't lose respect. You will gain it. People will be like, I trust you. And that actually is the bedrock for creating really healthy orgs and churches and spaces. So,
and a reminder too, if you want the script for the first question, how do you communicate a transition to your team? Let us know. Hit us up in the comments, and we will send you that.
Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed this. We hope we answered a couple of your questions. It was helpful as we processed that. And we will see you on the next time on the Futures Here podcast.
Peace.
Peace.